What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video. Today we're going to be doing a fun video where I tell you guys my favorite player from every single NHL team. I do a lot of rumor videos, discussion videos, stuff like that. I thought I'd do something a little more fun today for everybody, because it's always like, oh, rumors this, rumors that, what's going to happen? We'll take it down a little bit here. Let's at least try to have a little bit of fun here. I've got the list on my phone of every single player that I chose for this. I've done this before, so if you want to watch that and compare them, I did it a long time ago. I think it was on this channel. If I deleted it, I don't think I did, but I'm just gonna tell you guys every player. Some of them have switched for sure. I'm almost positive. There's some players you guys might go, really, that's your favorite player? And then there's probably gonna be some that are pretty obvious, but like always, I'd like for you guys to put your favorite players down in the comment section down below as well. That's always fun to be able to get your guys' opinion. And again, this is an opinion piece, so this isn't, set in stone who's the best player. It's just my personal favorites. They don't even have to be the best player. It's just your opinion and my opinion. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this video. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Love to have more hockey conversations with you. Join the squad. Let's get to 4,000 subscribers. Also, there will be some links down below. I'll let you guys know about SeatGeek as well at the end of the video. And also, if you want to buy a t-shirt down below, I'll let you know about that at the end of the video as well. So let's get right into this right now. So I started off with the East, with the Metro Division, and I started off with Carolina, where I chose Brock McGinn. Now, everybody's probably going to be like, really, Brock McGinn? Well, he is a pretty decent NHL player, of course, but I actually went to the same high school as Brock McGinn, and there was a hockey tournament that was being run that our high school was involved in, and I actually was doing the timekeeping with him and Garrett Sparks, who is with the Toronto Marlies and maybe with the Leafs soon. But Brock was really nice. Could definitely talk to him the whole time. There was never any point where he was like, oh, well, I'm a professional hockey player, I don't really have to speak to you. He was always really cool, and I always appreciated that, and I followed his career and stuff like that to see where he went. And he would probably never remember me. It was a long time ago, and it was brief, but he was a really nice guy, and I followed his career. There's like a famous viral video of him when he played for Guelph, I think, where he was blocking shots all over the place, and it was incredible. He's a great hockey player. If you don't know about him, you should definitely check him out. Next is Columbus, and it's Artemi Panarin. I've talked about this guy multiple times. I think that he's one of the most lethal players in the entire NHL. The guy can score at will, and I think that he's probably going to improve his numbers even more, and a lot of people might not agree with that, but I think that this guy's got a 40-plus goal season in him. I think that the way he shoots the puck is just got to be top 10, top 15 in the league. He just knows when to shoot it, and he gets himself in good positions to score. For the Devils, I chose Taylor Hall. I liked him when he played for Edmonton. I also used to watch that show called Oil Change that the Oilers did for a little bit, and I really wish that more NHL teams would do that all the time. I know there are some teams that still have shows. I binge watch those all the time in the summer, to at least take my mind off the fact that it's still pretty far away. I think at the time I'm recording this, there's 55 days left until the season, so we can do this, guys. But I always watched Taylor Hall in those, and I thought, you know what, this guy's a good guy on and off the ice, and with Edmonton, he never really got that true chance to really burst open through the door and become an MVP-like player that he is now. And I think that Edmonton maybe just misused him a little bit. Maybe he just didn't have the best fit there, and it's working out with the Devils. For the Islanders, I chose Matt Martin. This one is completely going to throw you guys off, but if Tavares was still with the Islanders, I would have chose him because I always liked him before. And now that he's a Leaf, obviously I didn't choose him, but Matt Martin. I mean, I don't really have that many favorite players there, but when it comes to Matt Martin, I got on his case multiple times, and I argued for the fact that he always shouldn't be in the Leafs lineup. Now, this wasn't to say that I didn't like the guy. It was the fact that there were better players that could have played over him, but that never took away the fact that I think he's a great guy on and off the ice. He was always protective of the young guys on the team. He's a more physical guy, and I think that Islanders fans are very happy to have him back there because he is such a leader in the community, and I have nothing but respect for Matt Martin, and I do like him on the ice. It's just there were some other players that deserve playing time over him, and that's not to say that he's bad, because he isn't. The guy is a pretty decent hockey player. For the Rangers, I chose Matt Zuccarello. Again, the Rangers, I didn't really have too much to choose from. I feel like everybody chooses Henrik Lundqvist, and I really do like him as well. I almost chose him, but I really do like Zuccarello. I think that he plays bigger than he actually is, and he's got heart. That guy just, every time I watch Rangers games, I'm like, damn, you know what? Zuccarello could fit on any team, because no matter what, he's always going to try to be a leader, and I think that he does a great job there. Rangers fans, I don't know if you would disagree with me, but I think that he plays much bigger than he actually is. He's one of the true guys that represent that height doesn't measure heart, and I think that I just had to choose him because of the fact that I think he's just an amazing player. The Philadelphia Flyers, I chose James Van Riemsdyk, another former Leaf. I have to give it up to JVR for how much he did for Toronto in this time here. He definitely produced on the ice, but again, I'm the type of guy that watches everything that the team does, and he did a ton of stuff in the community as well. JVR is one of those guys where if you tell him there's a community event, he's going to be there, and you're always going to see photos and videos of him at like the sick kids and all that stuff like that. He's always doing that. That I value probably just as much as the stuff on the ice, and that a lot of people may not agree with that, but I really think that it's incredible for players to go out and do stuff like that. And JVR did it for pardon me if I'm saying this wrong, but like the LGB, like the lesbian and gay, you know, community stuff like that, and I'm totally for that stuff as well. He was always doing being a part of those nights and like the anti-bullying and stuff like that. He's always representing that stuff, and I represent supporting those causes as well. So seeing him do that and the production that he had on the ice, gotta choose him. For the Penguins, Phil Kessel. I've explained this before. Kessel is just one of the most underrated players in the league. Everybody likes to make fat jokes, but you know, his rings are getting a little fat. His fingers, sorry, are getting a little fat from those rings that he's got on there. Two-time Stanley Cup champion Phil Kessel led the Leafs in scoring every year that he was on the team. And I can't see how you can hate a guy like this. He just goes out there, does his job, has one of the most lethal snapshots in the NHL, if not the most lethal snapshot, behind probably Ovechkin. But just insane. And speaking of Ovechkin, for the Capitals, you got to choose Ovi. And a lot of people probably don't know this about me. I've explained it before, probably in videos kind of recently. Alexander Ovechkin has been a guy that I look to for motivation my entire life. Playing hockey tournaments and stuff like that, whenever you go, if you guys did play in hockey tournaments, if you ever played on traveling teams, there was always setups of hockey cards and plaques and pucks that you could buy with players' faces on it, because come on, like, kids are always going to want to buy that stuff, and I always did. Luckily enough, if I had a good game, I would, you know, be able to pick something out of there, and I always chose Ovechkin stuff. I will show you guys in a full collection video if you guys want me to. My Alexander Ovechkin collection might be as big as my Leaf collection. I used to buy dog tags, jerseys, plaques, photos, pucks, anything with his face on it, because he motivates me. And I was a goaltender, but I was motivated to play and do as well as him. Maybe not be as flashy as he was, but I was always like, okay, damn, I gotta be as good as Ovi. I gotta be, you know, one of the best players on the ice. And now that he's a Stanley Cup champion, super proud. I'm a huge fan. Moving on to the Atlantic, this is going to surprise some people. The Boston Bruins, Patrice Bergeron. Yes, let that sink in. Bergeron is one of the best, if not the best, two-way player in the league. I would argue that he is, obviously alongside Anze Kopitar. But Bergeron is just unreal. The guy broke my heart when he beat the Leafs now in multiple times in Game 7s. But, of course, the dagger that he had against the Leafs scoring twice, we're just not going to talk about it. But besides that, you know, what he does for Team Canada as well, super happy that he gets to play for Team Canada whenever they're represented on the world stage. And also for the Bruins, we know he's just a machine. Offensively and defensively, there's not much more you could say about him. The Sabres newly acquired Jeff Skinner. I don't really have a ton of players that I like on the Sabres. I do like the team. They're much better now. I was kind of up in the air over a couple players. I was even going to choose maybe Alex Nylander, but he hasn't really done anything in the NHL yet. He's probably going to play this year, but Jeff Skinner, another guy who just plays bigger than he actually is, and I think he's going to be a fantastic fit in Buffalo. Great player, great guy, and I hope he kills it this year. For the Detroit Red Wings, I chose Nicholas Cromwell. Now, forgive me, I'm not sure if he even has a place on this team anymore. I know he's been beaten up and, you know, hasn't really been the Kronwall of the past, but I can almost exclusively remember in high school, my background was always get Kronwalled, and I've told this story, and maybe even in this same video before, I might have chose Kronwall as well. Literally my background at school said get Kronwalled, and it was him like just absolutely crushing somebody. I used to love watching him just absolutely annihilate people. I know that sounds bad, but I was always a fan of him because he used to do like that backwards like check that he used to do, like he used to turn his back and just absolutely nail people. I used to watch those highlights all the time, so I honestly chose him because of that. I was a fan of him before, and I'm not just gonna pick a different player because I still am, regardless of what he's doing now. For Florida, I chose James Reimer. This one was easy. I knew the second this team popped up, I knew exactly who I was choosing. James Reimer is honestly one of the best stories in the NHL. You really have to go back and look at how amazing this guy is. When he came up for Toronto, stole everyone's hearts. Leaf fans will always love him. He was incredible for the Leafs. He got backstabbed by the Leafs before when they went out and got Jonathan Bernier when Reimer should have easily been the starting goaltender. It hurt his confidence, and ultimately I think that's where the downfall of him came with the Leafs. He never really played like stupid bad with the Leafs. He was always really good in my opinion, and he dealt with the Toronto media pretty well, and I think the media liked him because he was an honest guy. And James Reimer, I will always be one of your biggest supporters, if not your biggest supporter. I've got Reimer jerseys, pictures, pucks, everything, probably again just as big as my OV collection. I love the guy. I hope he always does well with Florida. For the Montreal Canadiens, another goaltender, I chose Carey Price. This is another guy that I always modeled my game after. He's another guy as well who does a lot of charity work. He's a great guy on and off the ice. I hope that he really just kills it this season. I am a Leafs fan, but I really like watching Montreal and Leaf games when they're highly competitive. And as long as the Leafs win, just kidding. But, well, I'm not really kidding. I want the Leafs to win every time. But, it's, you know what, I really do love Carey Price. I think he's a great goaltender, and I had to have him on this list. I'm going to have to speed this up a little bit. For the Ottawa Senators, I chose Erik Karlsson. They have some players on that team that are pretty good, but Erik Karlsson is just a guy who wears his heart on his sleeve. Real good guy on and off the ice. Offensively, just a dynamite. Defensively, not so much, but Erik Karlsson has proven that he is one of the most elite talents in the NHL, and that's why I like him. And again, his personality is pretty great too. For the Tampa Bay Lightning, this one actually might have stung me the most on who I was going to choose, even more than my own team. Nikita Kucherov for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I was going to choose Stamkos, and I wanted to choose Hedman, and I wanted to choose Vasilevsky. I wanted to choose everybody, but it came down to Stamkos and Kucherov, and I picked Kucherov. I think he's one of the most lethal scorers in the league. Guy just puts the puck in the back of the net, and he could carry a team on his back like it's nothing. Had to choose him. For the Toronto Maple Leafs, my team, a lot of people aren't going to agree with this. Everybody chooses Matthews, Nylander, Marner. I choose Nazem Kadri. And a lot of people will not like that, okay? Like I said, since birth, since I was born, I have been a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. Before I was born, I was already a Leafs fan, okay? Everybody was like, your kid there, he's going to be a Leafs fan. And I was. And I still am, and I always will be. And Kadri has just been with this team for a long time. He's gone over some obstacles. He doesn't always play the cleanest game, but I think that he is a little bit underrated when it comes to how good he really is. The guy's got sick hands. He scores. He has one of the best contracts in the NHL, and I'll always support him. So, Nazem Kadri, big fan. I also was going to choose like Connor Brown or Jake Gardiner. And again, a lot of people may not choose those guys, especially Jake Gardiner. Moving on to the West, the Blackhawks, I always choose Jonathan Toews. I think that he's one of the better captains in the league. A lot of people are not happy with how he's been producing lately. I will always be a fan of him. I think that he has always represented Canada really well as well, and I hope he bounces back this year and has a great year. For the Avalanche, I chose Nathan MacKinnon, another guy who just represents Canada to the fullest. And he's one of the best stories in the NHL. The Avalanche were one of the best stories in the NHL this past season as well. I love the way he plays the game. He's fast. He's got a ton of skill. He's got a big frame to him. He's not afraid to get and do the dirty work as well. And I really hope that he just has another fantastic year this season. For the Stars, I chose Tyler Seguin. This is just, again, another guy, another Canadian guy, but I'm not just choosing them because they're Canadian. There's non-Canadians on this list, as you guys have clearly seen, but I think that Seguin, again, is another underrated type of guy. He's going to get paid this coming offseason, hopefully by the Stars, maybe even this offseason if they want to get a contract done. But he's a guy that I think has always been looked at as like the partying type when he was in Boston. That's part of the reason why he was dealt, from what we know. There is a trade video where they talk about whether or not they're going to keep Seguin, and it looks like Chiarelli had already made up his mind when that happened, when Boston traded him to Dallas. And I think that was a terrible decision, but for Dallas fans, that's great. He's always been a good player. I'll always be a fan of him. For the Minnesota Wild, I chose Matt Dumba, and I think I've told this story multiple times, but in the draft where the Leafs selected Morgan Rielly, Matt Dumba was selected before him. Or was it before him? No, it was after him. I wanted the Leafs to select Matt Dumba, but they ended up getting Morgan Rielly. Of course, I am a big fan of Morgan Rielly. I have his jersey. He was my favorite player at one point. I still love the guy, and I always will. But I am a big fan of Matt Dumba. I think that he's physical. I think that he's got a scoring touch. There are some parts to his game that he has to work on, but I'm always going to be a fan of him. For the Nashville Predators, PK Subban. Subban is one of the most charitable guys in the NHL, maybe in NHL history. The stuff that he does for kids is unbelievable, but his play on the ice has also been fantastic for me to watch since he entered the NHL. The way he hits, the way he shoots, man, that slap shot is lethal. He can absolutely lay people out too. And I think that he's a perfect fit in Nashville. That crowd, he gets them amped up. The crowd's already amped up most of the time, and then you just add PK and it's, overload. But big fan of the way he plays the game. Big fan of the way that he treats people. I think that he's a great guy. Had to have him on this list. For the St. Louis Blues, Tyler Bozak. This is another guy that I'll always have an emotional attachment to. I think that he is a great guy on and off the ice. He has a beautiful family. He's always so great when he's going up and high-fiving his son before games and stuff like that, and saying hi to his wife or whatever. And that's such a little thing, but to me, I was like, you know what, look at this guy. He's such a fantastic dad. He gets his kid involved whenever he can, his family involved. He always was very classy in Toronto. He showed a lot of respect to the fans, to the media, to everybody. He was put on the first line for a lot of the time he was with Toronto, playing with Van Riemsdyk and Kessel. And I think that probably wasn't the best position for him to be in, but at the same time, he did what he could, and he was really good. And I think that, he got harped on a little bit too much. He went undrafted, came to Toronto, and was one of the better players for quite a bit. So, Tyler Bozak, thank you very much. I've said it before. I'll keep saying it. Thank you for everything you did in Toronto. For the Jets, I chose Mark Scheifele. So, Scheifele, again, there's a lot of people to choose from Winnipeg. Damn, I really got to go fast here. But Scheifele is just a guy that he fills the score sheet. The guy's a great player. I love watching him play. There's players on this list that I specifically just like watching them play, and Scheifele is basically that guy. He gets it done, so I had to choose him. So the last division here, the Pacific. First for the Ducks, Rickard Rakell, a guy who's going to be the leader of this team in my opinion when it comes to points and stuff like that. He's just a great player. Much like Scheifele, I just like the way he plays the game. For the Coyotes, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. This was a guy I wanted the Leafs to get so bad. Of course, it would never work out, and he's doing great with the Coyotes. But just a big fan. Again, he plays the game right, and he's a quarterback on that Arizona Coyotes team. So, big fan of him. I think that he's a great fit there, and I think Coyotes fans would obviously agree that he's the leader of that team. For the Flames, Johnny Gaudreau, a guy who just does whatever he wants on that ice. He scores, he can skate past people, he's got sick hands, and I think that, again, he's a smaller guy. We all know that, but he plays much bigger than that, and he's going to be a guy that's going to consistently give you what you need offensively, and I hope the Flames take another step this year. Of course, they're kind of in a bit of a pickle. They really gotta win in these next couple of years because, they're gonna have to do something because this team has a pretty decent team. I don't know if a lot of people would consider them contenders. I don't, but I hope that they prove a lot of people wrong, and Gaudreau's going to be the leader of that. For the Oilers, how do you not choose Connor McDavid? He's arguably the best player in the world. I still think him and Crosby are pretty much, you know, together when you have to choose between the two of them. McDavid, fastest, so fast. I literally, I don't care how tired I am, I have to stay up to at least watch half of an Oilers game. This year I'm going to be watching all of them because I'm making sure I can watch more Oilers games. I watched a ton in full last season, but there were some days where I had school or work or whatever. I literally would stay up because I need to see how good Connor McDavid is. The guy just blows past people. He's got an insane amount of skill, and this season we're going to see even more of it. For the Kings, Drew Doughty. I'm from Guelph. Drew Doughty played in Guelph. He was classy. I met him multiple times. He signed everything you put in front of him, and it translated into the NHL. Him and LA are a perfect fit. The guy's a champion. He's a winner, and I think that Drew Doughty is one of the better players in the NHL. He's an elite talent defensively, offensively. The guy just gets it done. Can't thank him enough for what he's done in Guelph. He's always been charitable here as well, so had to have him on the list. The Sharks, Brent Burns. The guy, again, elite. He puts up points. He's basically another forward on the ice. He just gets it done. He's a big body. He's got that massive beard we all know. And I'm a big fan of the guy. Again, this is another guy. I just love how he plays the game. For the Canucks, Chris Tanev. A lot of people will disagree with that one. But again, it's my personal opinion. I like defensive defensemen, and I'd love to see Tanev on Toronto somehow. But we'll have to see how that works out. I think Tanev is an underrated defensive defenseman. He does have some injury troubles, of course. But I think that he plays a very good style of game. He fits probably in any team because of his defensive abilities. And, I mean, I'd love to see him in a Leafs jersey. And the last but not least is the Vegas Golden Knights. MarcAndre Fleury. He has been an inspiration to me my entire life, of course, when he got into the NHL. Just the way he plays. He's so funny. He's such a nice guy. I've got jerseys. Again, you guys can see one, the blue one actually, up there is a Fleury Penguins jersey. When he went to Vegas, I was like, this is a perfect guy to have at the forefront for your team. And they almost got it done, and Fleury was one of the biggest reasons why. He's always been a positive influence to me, and I can't thank him enough. I always played goalie trying to be like MarcAndre Fleury. Love the style, love the way he plays the game, great with kids off the ice, and yeah, that's my list. So if you guys would like to put your list in the comments section, do that. That would be awesome. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Love to have more hockey conversations with you. Join the squad. Let's get to 4,000. Let's get to 5,000. Let's get to 10,000. Okay, let's get to 4 first, but hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. And like I mentioned, if you want to get $20 off your first purchase with SeatGeek, use code APH in all caps. $20 off, you can get tickets for a game, you can get, concert tickets, anything like that. They show you on SeatGeek how good the seats are, so they're not trying to screw you over or anything like that. It's verified, everything there. They've got a great staff, they'll chat with you, whatever. Everything, I believe, is in American pricing, but of course you can still transfer it over to Canadian, whatnot. So if you use code APH, you get $20 off. If there's a pair of tickets for $60 and you end up paying $40, that's good, right? Hopefully you guys will enjoy that code, and it's off your first purchase. Make sure you check out SeatGeek as well. There's t-shirt links down below, hoodies, whatever, if you guys want to grab one. I'm trying to lower the price of those as we speak, so hopefully that will happen. Right as I'm finishing the video, it runs out of space or something like that, or the file size was too big. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.